we will only be reading books from authors that are new to me. I'm a little bit heated up because of the spoiler I just got. I'm really upset about that. Consider me intrigued. Consider me hooked. Hi, hello, welcome. Let's get cozy and let's talk about books, and welcome to today's video. As you know from the title and the thumbnail, today we are widening our horizons because for the entire week we will only be reading books from authors that are new to me. By saying that, I don't mean these authors are new authors in general. They're new to me. That means I have never read one of their books. I do have very high hopes for this video because I take approximately 100% of my recommendations from people online, and when somebody that I know, I love, and I trust tells me that this author eats down, I believe them. So I am going into all of these books with the highest of expectations, and every single time I see a book in a bookstore that I have heard of and an author that I've heard praise for, I immediately grab it. I want it. I'll take it home. However, that led to me owning too many books and not having enough time to read them. And I have this pile of books that I have selected, curated for today's video so that we can choose from. And the goal of today's video was initially to only pick from the books that I already owned. However, that didn't really happen. Hear me out. I had already owned this book, You Belong With Me by mcfarlane, and I was so excited to read this book for this specific video. And I posted it on my story on my Instagram. By the way, follow me on there if you want to see daily updates, reading updates from me. That's at Amalia's Read. Anyway, back to the story. So I post on my story that I'm excited to read this book and that I had just gotten this book, and I tag mcfarlane, and guess what? She answers to my story. Yeah, I know. Take it in. And she tells me, I hope you don't mind that the character's story from this book starts in another book. And then she proceeds to tell me, if you end up reading that book, please keep me updated. And what do we do when mother demands that we read a book? We read that goddamn book. So even though I do have a huge pile in front of me of books that I am so excited to read and from authors that I've never read before, we are putting them to the side and we are buying a new book for this challenge because we just simply must. Now you understand why, and I bet you would do the same thing, so no judgment here, right? So from this pile, we'll only end up choosing 2 books, but let me walk you through our options. The Gracier by Liggett. Is that how you say her name? I hope I'm not butchering it. I apologize if I do. I have heard such mixed reviews about this book, but actually mostly good things. I've heard this is kind of like an uncomfortable sort of book. It sounds right up my alley. If this is going to make me feel something, sign me the fuck up. Another option that I am actually so excited for, and for some reason this morning I woke up and decided I feel like reading this book, so maybe this is going to be the first one that we pick up. Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby von Pelt. I've only heard positive things about this book, and apparently it's about an old lady and an octopus. So like, who wouldn't want to read about that? Listen, I know it's a crime that I've not read this book yet, and I've actually never read any books from Madeline Miller. It's The Song of Achilles. I don't know why I'm so goddamn intimidated by this book. I know it's a very loved book and a very appreciated book, and it's a love story. It intimidates me so badly. I don't actually know if I have it in me to pick this book up right now, but just know this is an option, and if you really want me to read this book, just please yell at me and I will eventually read it. I just need the right amount of motivation, I think. Then we have The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. This is a very short one, cutesy one. I really want to read something of Catherine Center's. I have only heard good things about her book. However, the weather outside is so bad, and this kind of feels like it demands to be read on a sunny day, on a blanket, outside, having a picnic, you know? So maybe we'll do this if the weather is on our side this week. We'll just have to wait and see. And then last but not least, I have By a Thread by Lucy Score, and I know I've never read any book by Lucy Score, and this was a very popular one a couple of years ago, I would say, back when I first joined Book Talk just as a viewer. I remember everybody was giving this book 5 stars, and it's about a girl in fashion, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm really like, I would love to read about that. The only reason why I have been putting this book off is because it's a 600-page romance book, and not only that, but the font is teeny tiny, so I am just here wondering, like, what do you have to say about two people that we know from the beginning that are going to be in love by the end of the book in 600 pages? I don't fucking know. Anyway, I'm not quite sure which book I'm going to start right now. I'll have to stare at them for quite a little bit. I need to give my voices a little bit of time so they can decide which book we will start. I guess you will see in the next clip, and without further ado, let's roll the tape. Don't mind me, I'm going to a concert, but it's time for the first update for Remarkably Bright Creatures. I'm not gonna lie to anyone involved, it's been days and 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 days, maybe even weeks since I started this book, since I filmed the first clips of this video. It's a slow start. Let's get into it. I knew about this book that it had kind of a slower start. It's a general fiction from what I know. Action is not the thing that's going to grip you and that's going to keep you interested. And in this one, the story is a little bit confusing. We are following 3 point of views. We are following the main female character, Tova, who is an old lady who works at this aquarium, I think it is. We get a lot of chapters from her POV, and we find out that she's like in this group of old ladies and that her husband just passed away, and also her son passed away a while ago. We get a lot of chapters from her point of view, and they're quite mundane. It's like she goes to work and then she has this conversation and then she does this and does that, but doesn't really add to the plot of the story much. Then we get the POV of this guy, Cameron, who we don't know how he's connected to the story. The page that I'm at, by the way, 150, is when he is in the same city and we see how they kind of come together, Tova and Cameron, but by that time we don't know who Cameron is. I still don't know who he is in relation to Tova, but anyway, now at least they're in the same space. And then the third POV is Marcellus, who is an octopus that is held in the aquarium that Tova works at, and he's very old, basically. He's supposed to be alive for 1,460 days, and the book starts on his 1,299 days. So he has about 100 or so days to live, and he's very smart. Like, he gets out of his tank, he understands what people say when they speak to him, when they come to his tank, and he knows Tova, because Tova works there as a cleaner, and he gets to know her. They form a little bit of a friendship, and I was about to film this update, right? So I go quickly on the back of the book to make sure that I know the names of the characters, right? So I quickly look over the back of the book and I find something out that I haven't even reached in the book. And mind you, I'm on page 150. What do you mean in 150 pages? I could not find everything out from the back of the book. If that's not a spoiler, I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna say what the back of the book actually says because I don't want to spoil it for you. In my opinion, it's a spoiler. If you want to find out, I'm sure you can find it somewhere, but I'm just not gonna be the one to tell you. I now know how Marcellus is going to be connected to Tova. I still am not sure about Cameron. I'm a little bit heated up because of the spoiler I just got. I'm really upset about that. Now let's just talk about the book and my opinion of it. It's slow. It's really slow, and it's beautifully written, but I think without the audiobook I couldn't have focused as well as I'm focusing now with the audiobook, because it's just, as I told you, we get a lot of POVs that don't really add to the story that much, and I'm like, let's get to the point here. Let's see how everything connects. I am enjoying the writing though. I have been annotating this one, and I don't know if you can see that at all, but I do have some tabs. It's just not the type of book that I need to pick up. Like, I don't feel like sitting down and binging the whole thing. I'm like, let me read 20 more pages and see what Tova is up to today. You know, do have a little bit of time until I have to go to the concert, so I think I'm gonna sit down for a bit and maybe read some more. We'll see, but I will update you as soon as the story kind of picks up more. Okay, I am now at page 208 out of 355, and I have a little bit of an update. I think I figured out how Cameron is tied to Tova and how Marcellus is also tied to their connection. I'm hoping I'm correct. I'm just putting my theory out there. I'm not going to tell you, but I'm saying these words out now. I'm saying that I have a theory. I'm curious if I'm right, and I'm curious how it's going to eventually be unfolded. This is a little bit of also a mix of mystery, crime sort of situation, but in a very tame general fiction sort of way. I'm so curious if I'm right, and mind you, I think only 200 pages in, you can finally read the back of the book. On page 208, if I would have read the book, I would have been like, yeah, no, that makes sense. But before that, no, absolutely the fuck not. But of course, the second that the book picks up, I have to leave. I'm going to the concert that I was telling you guys about, so this is gonna have to wait. But if I'm right, I think it's going to hurt. I think I'm going to cry. So I have to stop before my makeup all goes away. I just finished Remarkably Bright Creatures a few hours ago, and it's time to wrap our final thoughts around the first book of today's video. I'm trying to think about what I already told you about this book, because in all honesty, it took me a little bit over 2 weeks to read this book, and there was a reason behind it. It wasn't just the fact that it was slow paced, which it was, but it wasn't just that. I had my sister visiting me for about a week while I was reading this, and actually that during that week I did not read a single page of this, just because she was visiting me. She was on vacation, so I was kind of like playing tourist with her here in Amsterdam, so I didn't really have time to pick this book up. And so it's been a while since I last picked this book up and read it, and I genuinely don't remember what I last told you about my feelings towards it. I think I told you about the fact that I was pissed about the back of it and that it kind of spoiled a little part for me. There is a little teeny tiny bit of mystery throughout this book, and that's the sweetest part, you know, because even though at some point, like at around page 200, you kind of figure it out and there's no mystery left until the end, so like for the next 150 something pages, you kind of know what's going on. They're the only ones who don't know what's going on. It's still very heartwarming towards the end when they figure it out, and it's like, oh my god, it all comes together so beautifully, and I feel like everybody has such a picture perfect ending, the ideal ending that you could think about for these characters. It happens. It has a very beautiful ending. It's a very heartwarming story. It's very character focused. It's very much about the growth of some characters. You get to know them so well. You get to know their everyday lives. You get to know not only like their trauma and their past, but really them as people, and you get attached to them. So by the end of it, you're extra happy for them because they are happy, right? So it was very sweet from that point of view, and also like it really did pick up towards the end. Like I was more eager to read it once I finally figured out what was going on, because then I could root for them. I was like, come on guys, pick up the pace, because you gotta find something out that I already know, you know? So like it was more engaging. Before that, when I didn't know what was going on, I was like, so like why the fuck am I falling following this old woman who speaks to an octopus, you know? I did enjoy it all throughout, but it wasn't my favorite read. I really think that I had higher expectations for this one. I don't know, just because I thought that I would be reading about an octopus. It's not really about an octopus, let me tell you that. Like, the octopus has a very beautiful role in the story, but it's not about the octopus. Would be very interested in reading about an octopus though, because this really piqued my interest. In this story, the octopus kind of played the role, and I kept thinking about this, and this is very niche, so you either get it or you don't. You know how Dua Lipa and Callum Turner met? They were both reading the same book and they were on the same page. It was kind of like love at first sight, and then everything kind of went perfectly for them, and that now they're married, you know? The octopus kind of felt like that. It kind of felt like the book in Dua Lipa's story, you know? The octopus kind of felt like the book. This magical leap of faith, you know? It's this magical gift from the universe to these people. Like, the octopus kind of brings them together, but it's not really a character in their story. Anyway, with all of that being said, I think I'm going to settle on a 3.5. I don't want this to be a discouragement for you guys to read this book, because I genuinely think you would like it. I think anyone would find it very endearing and wholesome. I just think it wasn't what I thought it would be. So I'm kind of here to tell you, this is not a book about an octopus. I don't exactly remember what I told you guys the options were when I started this video, but since then I did receive the mcfarlane book that I was waiting on, which is Who's That Girl? And I also got myself a new book. It was very cheap on Vinted. I was like, I have to. Like, I have to. I didn't even pay for the transport. And I've seen a bunch of people say this book is amazing, and I've never read anything by Gail Honeyman, so this is also added to the options. But we're putting everything else down because we are picking up Who's That Girl? First and foremost, because I'm so excited to read a mcfarlane book. It's not even fun. Like, at this point, it's like, I need it. And we'll just let the third book be a mystery, be a decision of its own time. But right now, for the second book of the video, we have Who's That Girl by mcfarlane. Let's see what this is all about. I'll keep you updated. Let's read. Consider me intrigued, consider me hooked. What in the world? Do you know when was the last time that a book got me so excited to read? Do you know when was the last time I absolutely binged the first 100 pages without putting the book down once? Do you know how long it's been since I absolutely gasped at the book, laughed at it, and was so intrigued? Like, I missed loving reading, and this is making me love reading. So it's kind of like a rom-com, and we're following this woman, Edie. We're starting at a wedding, right? And she's not having the best time. We don't initially know why. And then when she calls the night off, the groom comes and kisses her. He kisses her. And then the bride and the groom break up. Everybody blames it on her. Obviously, she's a woman. Like, we're used to it. We're not even surprised absolutely at all, right? We're not normalizing it, but we're used to it. She goes to work the next day and she's like, hey, I understand I'm creating trouble in the office. They were apparently, like, the groom, the bride, and her, they were working in the same office. And she goes like, I know I'm creating problems in the office. Like, I'm gonna quit. And the boss is kind of like on her side. He's like, I don't fucking care what you're doing with your private life. I just thought that you'd have better taste. And that was such a good comment, because yes sir. And he goes like, so I'm gonna give you this job. You're from Nottingham. You're going to ghostwrite a novel about this very famous actor who's from Nottingham. So she goes back home and she's supposed to meet this guy at page 100. They've not met. We're not actually introduced to Elliot yet, but this is the premise of the book, and it's written so beautifully. Not only is it funny, like she's funny, she's a funny character, but also it's written so beautifully. The author is so comfortable in her language. You know, when someone is very confident in the way that they speak, in the way that they joke, they don't look for words, they have them down, you know. It reads very cursive, like it doesn't take you out of it. It's not like you're noticing that you're reading a book. You're not noticing that it's words on paper. It's like you're there. Like, I see it, I see the setting, I see the characters, I know them, her family, her friend, and it feels realistic. She still has beautiful poetic writing, but in a way that I'm not picturing her opening a dictionary, picking a word, or, you know, going around it and initially writing it in a way and then going back and making it something else, you know. It feels like she's very confident in her language. I feel like I'm doing a very bad job of describing this, but I need this to be a movie. I need this to become a movie. I need to see it on screen. It's already so good, so intriguing, and I'm only on page 100. I have 435 left, so it's still a long way to go, but I'm already enjoying it so much. And I'm telling you, I've not enjoyed a book so much, so fast, oh my god, in such a long time. It's absolutely illegal. I'm so glad I picked this book up. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. This is a very mild example of what I was just saying, but it's the first that I could find. So they're at a bar drinking, right? And she goes, Hannah returned from the bar with more massive glasses of red that were going to wreak flamboyant revenge in the morning. So she's not basically saying that we drank some more and we were going to regret the hangover tomorrow morning, right? She's saying that the glasses of red were going to wreak flamboyant revenge in the morning. It is poetic, but it is in a way that doesn't sound forced or doesn't sound like, wait, what the fuck did I just read? Like, that's unnatural, that's weird, that doesn't fit. It fits, it works, and I just love her characters, and they all have such specific traits. It's like old school rom-coms when every single character had their own thing, their own like drama and personality. Nobody fades into each other. Nobody's forgettable. You're not gonna be like, who is that? No, you know exactly who that is because they're so specific to themselves. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this. No, what do you mean that's the end? Now I get it. Now I understand why it's a duology. Yeah, it makes so much sense. I don't want to spoil it for you. It's kind of like a cliffhanger. Like, I feel like I need the next one right now. I don't know how to describe this to you without spoiling it, but I do think that if you love the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez, you would love this duology. And also I feel like if you love Abby Jimenez in general, and also like Emily Henry, I would say, even, what's her name? Oh, Annabelle Monaghan, even her, like if you love these authors, I think you would love this book. And I'm guessing in general, Vari McFarlane, like it was kind of like that, but more British, with more British humor. But this was funny, this was witty, it was so sweet. I loved it. It was like a proper rom-com. I think I've talked about the characters before, but also I feel like it had the perfect amount of emotional topics and like deep topics and grief, and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you, but like really everybody was going through something, and I feel like there were so many moral topics discussed, and like it was a thesis on so many subjects, I would say, that I think it was so well done. mcfarlane has immense potential to become one of my auto by author. If she writes it, I will read it. This was absolutely amazing. I think I got very, very, very excited in the beginning because I've not read a book like this in such a long time. Like, this was a proper women's fiction meets rom-com, but definitely more focused on a personal journey. I don't feel like it impacted my life in such a way that it's like, oh my god, this is 5 stars, I'm never going to stop thinking about this. This is part of my DNA right now. I didn't resonate with it that deeply so that it would be a 5-star, but it was a very strong 4, and I really wholeheartedly recommend it. And I feel like the goal of this video, besides like finding good books, which I do feel like I have with this one, was really finding new authors that I can rely on, and that when I am in a slump like I am right now, I know that I can relate on the authors that I find in this video. You know, like, find the type of authors that will get me out of a slump, that will write books that I know that I'm gonna love reading, regardless if it's going to be 5 stars, amazing, like the best thing that I've ever read, changed my life. But good books, actually really good, enjoyable books. And I feel like I have thoroughly succeeded with mcfarlane. Okay, I have gathered a few options. Let's go through them. I have Lucy's Score that I've never read before, and I would be very tempted to read this one if it weren't another brick of a book. Who's That Girl was already long. I really want a shorty for this one. I'm not feeling a longie for this one. I'm feeling a shorty, okay? And I do have a shorty, and this is a good option. But you know what? I think it's another rom-com. It's called The Rom-Commers. I don't know if I should do 2 rom-coms back to back, because what if I'm not gonna love this one as much because I just read that one? Then I have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. This is like a good option, like a good solid option. And I also have The Gracier, which would be a genre shift. Even from the first book, the second book, this would be completely different. So I think this would be like a very smart choice. This is another very solid option. I have these 2 that I can actually, and I really will pick from. I'll just see when I make a choice. Cut! Okay, it's time for the first update. I haven't told you guys, but I decided to read The Gracier, and thank God I did, because I am enjoying this so much. We're in this, I would say, dystopian. I don't know if I would say fantasy world. I think I would stick to saying this is a dystopian world where girls are believed to have magic. At 16, all the girls in this small town are sent away into the wild, into the wilderness, to basically free themselves of their magic. And our main female character, not only does she not believe that girls have magic, but she also doesn't subscribe to the society at all. If a guy veils you, it means that if you come back from the Gracier, you'll get married to them, like they choose you to be their wife. She doesn't want to be veiled. She already has a plan when she comes back from the Gracier. She doesn't want to get married. She wants to work in the fields. A lot of girls, if they're not veiled, they want to work as maids because that's like kind of like the easier job. You're still in a good family, but she doesn't even want that. She wants to work in the fields. She doesn't want to get married, and she was always very careful, always kept her eyes open to just find out more about what this Gracier is and what's expecting her. And we're following her right before and as she enters her Gracier. So we see her in the beginning at the veiling. You find out whether she gets veiled or not. Then she goes into the Gracier, and I don't want to say much about what happens during the Gracier. I think that's the fun of it, of you finding out yourself. I finished the first chapter, which is autumn, so we are already going into winter. I really wanted to stop a little bit earlier. This is how much I've read of the book. I really wanted to stop at like 100 pages or something, but I couldn't put it down. Even now I'm like, I can't wait to go back into it. It's so fast paced and it's so well written. It goes straight into it, but it's not too hard to understand. It's so straight to the point, kind of reminds me of Hunger Games. I'm not even comparing it to the book, but more so the movie. Like, you are straight into the thick of it. It starts with Katniss hunting, I think it is. She's hunting, she gets back, they go to the reaping, she gets selected. You know, it's all of that quick. Before you know it, the reaping already happened. It's kind of like that in such a good way. This is giving major 5-star energy. Shit is going crazy. These girls are insane. There's already like a villain character, kind of like Kato. We have a Kato, a girl Kato here, and I want to let's just be kind about it and say, at least I want to bitch slap her. I want to bitch slap her so badly. She needs to be shut the fuck up. We already are in there a little bit, but not actually the thick of it. I cannot wait to see if she is right about her doubt about women having powers, how deep into the world we're gonna go, how deep into the lore of this world we're gonna go. But the beginning of it is giving major 5-star vibes, and I genuinely don't remember the last time I rated a book 5 stars. Seriously, I'm in dire need of a 5-star book, and I've not had this 5-star feeling. And I'm not saying a good book feeling. I've had that. Like, even the last book that I read started it already, like, I knew I was going to love that book, but this is beyond that. This is giving me 5-star energy, so I'm really hoping I'm right about this one, and it is going to be a 5-star. I'm hoping, guys, I'm hoping. I am crossing my fingers and toes that that's going to be the case. Anyway, I'll see you when I see you. I swear this book has crack in it, because the last chapter, the winter chapter, was like 100 pages and it felt like 30 pages. I think it lasted around half an hour for me to read it, and it's literally like you cannot put it down. Like, you need to turn the page, you need to know what's going to happen. It's so engaging, it's so interesting. And also, we met a certain someone in this chapter. I'm not gonna say too much about him. I'm not gonna say too much about this whole situation, actually, but yeah, she's starting to learn more about the Gracier and what's happening there. And I don't know if I mentioned it in the beginning, but the Gracier is something like really gnarly. They know that every girl who was there, when they come back, their mothers, their sisters, like, they don't have fingers, they don't have certain body parts, they're scarred for life. They go there to let go of their magic. And let's just say that we learn more about how that works in the next chapter. It's really hard to freak out about this book and also not say anything, but I think this book would translate so well and so nicely onto television, like into a movie. It has every single element that would make a book a great script, a great movie. I think it's like along the lines of like Divergent and The Hunger Games, and this is making me want to read more dystopian. Like, that was my shit when I was younger. It was my favorite genre. Not only do I need to know what's going to happen to her, I also need to know what's going to happen with this new character that we were introduced to, and with a little bit of like something that was hinted in the beginning about back home and some loose characters. I'm also interested in her sisters and her mom. Like, is she gonna find anything out about their Graciers? I don't know. I'm excited. See you in summer. The sun is out. I finished one more chapter. It's bittersweet, like something that I really wanted did happen, and it was very sweet and very beautiful, but at the same time something really nasty happened, and it was expected but also sad at the same time. I really cannot tell you anything at this point. I don't even know why I am trying to update you, but I have one more chapter from the grace year, and then it's the return. I'm a little bit nervous because we're reaching the end and I genuinely don't know how this can end. At this point, the only ending that I can see, I wouldn't like. So I think I know how it's going to end. Please, I don't want to be right. 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 I'm done with the grace year. It's not a 5-star. It's not that too much happened. I wouldn't take anything away. I would say I would even like make it a little bit longer and more in depth, but I don't feel like I missed anything. It was just a little rushed. I'm sure that if I would sit more with it, maybe I could pinpoint exactly what it is that I am missing with this one. I wish I was in a book club. I wish I was in a book club and I could dissect this with more people and somebody would open my eyes to why it doesn't feel like a 5-star, because ultimately to me 5-star is a feeling, and this just didn't end up feeling like a 5-star. It really started off feeling like a 5-star because the concept is so good, the characters are so good, it's so well executed. I loved the writing. I would be so interested in reading more books from this author, but like, I don't know, I think towards the end it was just like one thing after another, and it was just a little bit too rushed, and I liked the ending. Was it devastating and was it sad? Yes, but I liked it. Like, it made sense. I kind of saw it come. It made sense. I'm okay with the ending. I settled on a 4.5 and I'm very happy about this. Still, even a 4.5 was such a scarce thing this year. This is still one of the best books that I've read all year, and I would highly recommend it. It was just not perfect, but that's fine. That doesn't just wrap this book. That wraps up today's video. I just went ahead and pulled all of the books that we read in today's video, and it's time for final thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Let's go back a little bit. We started with Remarkably Bright Creatures, and let's reflect a little bit on the concept of today's video, which was reading new to me authors. I enjoyed this author. I enjoyed her writing. I enjoyed her characters. I'm assuming it's a her, right? I'll just pretend like it's a woman. I really enjoyed the tenderness and the softness, and I would very much enjoy reading another one of her books. If I ever find another book of hers, I will be excited to read it, but I wasn't like obsessed with this one. Who's That Girl by mcfarlane, and I had a feeling about this author because it was impossible for so many people to say, this is one of my favorite authors, she never misses, every single book that I've read from her is amazing, and for me to dislike her. And she's also the kindest, sweetest human being alive. She also, I was texting with her the other day when I finished this book, and she was telling me about other books that she wrote that are her favorites, and I cannot wait to read not only those books but every single one of her books. I think she has another book coming out this year or early next year, but I still think this year. So I'm so excited to have found a new favorite author. The one we just finished is The Grace Year by Liggett, and I really enjoyed this. This was my favorite book of the video. I think this book just kind of represented the comeback of dystopian for me in my life. I hope that the one thing you get from this video is that not only you should read this book, but like dystopian is back. this book brings dystopian back. Every single time I have to end a video, I'm like, did I say everything? Did I miss anything? What if I should say more? What if I'm not thinking straight? Well, that's all you get from me today. These are the books that we read this week. I love this challenge. I cannot wait to do it again because we found 3 amazing authors through this challenge. I'm so happy about it. Let me know what other authors that I am unfamiliar with I should familiarize myself with. Let me know what other books you want to see me read on this channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope the book that you're reading right now is the best book you've ever read, a 5-star floppy masterpiece. I cannot wait to see you in my next video because I promise you I'm gonna find my next 5-star in that video, and if I don't, you can laugh in my face. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. If you want to see that, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, I'll leave you to reading.